No, I didn't know much of my father. He used to drink a lot. I could smell it on him. So he wanted to get rid of Buck. Well, he got rid of Phoebe first, and then he got rid of me. I did miss home, going to see my own people. And, you know, being there so many months, I got used to it. I did about 5 years there, getting on for 5 years. In September 15, I was moved to Storthes Park. I didn't know where I was going.
Stoke Park Colony for mental defectives was 100 miles away near Bristol. It was 1926. John was not mentally ill. He'd lost his family. He was 12.
It was in the winter, very cold. And her sister come, started to cry. Didn't cry long, so I said, dry your eyes. So she said, come on, come follow me. So I followed her. She said, oh, a great big dormitory it was. She said, that'll be your bed. And there was big holes in the bloody blankets. Oh, I said, I want a better blanket. I was only 12. I said, OK, I'll make the best of it.
In 12 years at Stoke Park, John had no visitors. He was being brought up in what was then viewed as a lunatic asylum.
It was 129 in one ward. Now, some of them were deaf and dumb, some were blind, some some couldn't feed themselves, some couldn't bathe themselves. You had to wipe them down, or get somebody to do it. Staff wouldn't do it. They were too damn lazy, staff.
That's Betty, isn't it?
Yeah, that's Betty. That's Nurse Boydell.
Yeah.
That's Hilary. He's from Newchurch, where I was.
Between them, Francis Schofield and Ethel Williams totalled 90 years in institutions. Neither of them is mentally ill. Like many victims of the system, they stumbled into asylums via children's homes.
Taken into care when I was 2 years old. I don't think my mother was ill. I didn't find out about that. And I went to the old cottage homes. And when I got to know they were really strict, you couldn't even take a doll to bed to cuddle, a teddy bear, nothing. We went to bed and we talk, and if they hear us talking, go downstairs and get a slipper. And I think that was disgrace. And it closed in 1957, and we had to all move. And I went to Newchurch Hospital, and I got there about 5 o'clock. I can remember going on Ward 4, and I met some more children, and I met the nurses, and I didn't know I was going in a hospital. I thought it was going to be a home, you know, like with the staff, not in uniforms.
My dad, like, you know, he was a bit of a scallywag. And he used to get himself into trouble and that, you know. And my mother had a breakdown, you know, so.
Today, Ethel and Francis share a spotless flat in Liverpool. In hospital, they became lost in the system, written off as feeble-minded and used as skivvies. They had no redress.
See, we couldn't run away, because we would have got the ways end of it.
Being in there and locked up and everything, you know, when we shouldn't have been.
Oh, what happened at Newell, we couldn't even tell the social workers what was going on. Because, you know, it being a subnormal, staff would have said, oh, they're telling a pack of lies.
For Francis, Brock Hall Hospital in the 40s was the worst time.
Can you manage, Francis?
Well, slacking and slaving all day long. Used to get up 6 o'clock in the morning. There used to be night nurses. They used to come and take you to the wards you worked on. You used to start work at 6 to 7 at night. You used to be cleaning, helping with the disabled. They used to treat the disabled people terrible, you know. You know, they used to hit them in the, you know, shout at them in the. So it used to upset me, and then I used to get myself into trouble.
Jimmy Lang was another childhood victim who spent 50 years in the system before a psychiatrist got him out.
Well, today I'd be called a hyperactive child. That would be it in a nutshell. And in those days, there was no places, what have you. So the clinic doctor, the school doctor, and a psychiatrist, they sent me to Baldovan Institution for mental deficient boys and girls. Well, actually, I was quite happy. We're going on a train. I mean, 1939, getting on a train and travelling, going to Dundee. Actually, it was like going on holiday. Arriving at Baldovan, we were met by the superintendent and introduced. And the words, I always remember his words, because they were to haunt me for many years to come, was, "Come in, you're going to be very happy here."
Jimmy Lang was 9 years old.
60 patients in the dormitory, 30 in some. And I think the most horrific thing, even at that early time in, dare I call it, my career, was one toothbrush for 30 boys. Well, I started absconding because, firstly, I knew I shouldn't be where I was. I knew that I had the qualities, if you care to call it that, of being a member of society. And I continued to do it. I was never successful, as has been proved, but however, the world loves a trier, and try as I did, I didn't get to my destination till, as we know, 50 years later.
Jimmy Lang was trouble. He fought the system that had labelled him a mental defective. He absconded and offended. He was sent to ever more secure establishments. At 16, he put his fist through a window and was declared insane. He kept fighting, finally meeting his match, 28 years at Carstairs State Hospital for the criminally insane.
Oh, you had no redress. And in fact, patient was a word wasn't a word they used then, it was inmate. Until you admitted you were ill, they didn't want to know you.
Doors were locked all the time, you know. Nurses used to rattle in the keys all the time. You couldn't go anywhere without anybody. They used to open the door, shove you in and lock it again.
We was never allowed out on your own. Say we wanted to go on the field or in the bathroom, always staff was always first to go through the door.
And the sports day, we used to walk around the field with a big fence around us. Don't fence me in. It wasn't in it. Great big fence around you. And all the staff walking behind you, rattling keys.
Britain's mental hospitals used to be like prisons. Storthes Hall near Huddersfield once held 3,000 patients, dressed like staff in uniform, the sexes strictly segregated. There was no way out. The wards were locked. It was into this former system that Francis Schofield, Jimmy Lang, and countless others like them were thrown to endure the cruel regimes of the past and treatments now consigned to the museum.
This is a type of straitjacket which would have been used most likely by patients who were working out in the gardens, where they could, with the movement they have with the arms, probably wheel a wheelbarrow. The chief purpose, of course, was to stop patients from escaping, from running away. Well, in those days, they didn't have the tranquilizing drugs that are available today, and therefore they had to use some physical method of restraint.